People tend to say bad things happen in threes. There is one thing for certain, and that is for Marshall football, a great thing came in two. The leadership, accompanied by the lightheartedness and ultimate teammate qualities, has made these men of the gridiron a compelling story. Their ability to energize their teammates by leaving everything out on the field and follow it up with the completion of a heavy academic workload epitomizes the kind of people they are. Marshall fans, it is with great honor to introduce you to Eric and Blake Frohnapfel.
I think part of the reason why I was chosen was I feel like a pretty well-rounded kid with a good GPA, and I've had some impact on the field. And plus, with the whole the twin story going on with Eric, my brother Eric, I feel like that it's a pretty unique story.
A lot of it has to do with the kind of unique appeal that Blake and I have, being that we're twins, go to the same school. I think kind of saying what commitment means to me. There's so many things that you have to devote time to and devote effort to, and so many things that you have to kind of miss out on, things that you can't do because you play a sport. So I just think that being committed, you have to really put all of your effort into your sport and into the classroom, and then maybe things like your social life kind of come second tier to that.
It'll be tough. I mean, obviously it's very demanding, like just the mentally tough aspect of it, where you deal with all the pressures, things like that. And that was physically tough, where you're going against other great athletes in the sport that you may play.
I think that being on a team, you're around so many more people that are trying to help you be successful, whether it be your trainers trying to help you get on the field, or your academic advisors helping you, in the classroom, or your coaches in the weight room. There's so many people that are trying to help you be the best you can be, whereas if you're a regular student, you're sort of on your own in a lot of sense. But when you play a sport, there's people that are in your life, whether you like it or not, helping you to get to where you need to be, helping you be successful. And sometimes even when you don't want to hear it, you don't want to do what they're telling you to do. I mean, I always know in the back of my mind that they're right and that they have my best interest in mind, so that I should listen to them and do what they're telling me to do.
It gives them a greater chance to be successful in their time on campus because they have eyes on them. They have that sense of responsibility. There's people that are poking them, saying, "Where were you? Or why were you late? Or you be there the next time." And I think the accountability that would grow from that would be a positive life lesson.
Well, I think you have to go back and look at their parents. I mean, they obviously are well grounded. They understand their responsibility. They're young men that they're going to go to class, they're going to come to practice each and every day, they're going to work hard, they're going to go over in the weight room and do what needs to be done in the weight room. They understand their role, they understand the responsibility of being a student athlete, and they understand whether student athletes like it or not, you're role models. And I think they take great pride in being role models because you can tell by the way they live their life of being a student athlete.
The thing I always remember going back to the front yard football games is, like I said, I'd be the steady quarterback, and there was nothing worse because they would have fun and I was just trying to wear them out. But you were always trying to make the score tied at the end. And if I would throw a duck that would get picked late so that one of them won, just the crying and the complaining, and then the gloating on the other side. My wife yelling at me, thinking, "Hey, I threw a duck. I got picked." And by the time they were 10 or 11, they were legitimate. They were just, they were picking me off.
I would say definitely my father, Steve Frohnapfel, had the biggest impact in my life. I mean, he was an ed graduate for 25 plus years, and he'd always come home and be, calm and collected. I wouldn't show his stress or anything like that. And I really respect that in him. And obviously he's a very loving father, and I'm very lucky to have him as a father like that.
I mean, obviously my dad has been a great influence, but I don't want to forget my mom. She's, obviously she's a great person too. She teaches learning disabled kids in elementary school, so I obviously really respect her for that, being able to have the patience and the perseverance to do something like that. But I mean, she's also taught me and Blake how to be, humble and gentle. We're not just rough, tough football players or anything like that. We're still people, and we still have to be kind, gentle people, and lighthearted, and treat people with respect. So I never want to forget my mom. She's taught us a lot too. It's
a very tough, hard-nosed family. So even though she's a loving, sweet, nurturing mother, there are times when I'm the one saying, "Hey, honey, they did the best they could. Ease up." We have two daughters that played college volleyball. She was the same way. I mean, if somebody was going to tear into them after the game, am I lying? More often, it was mom. Why didn't you do this? What? It seemed like it was right there.
I would say something I really had as a very unique experience I've had here at Marshall University is obviously the touch and pass to Eric, my first one.
I'd probably have to say the same story involving Blake with throwing me a touchdown pass.
Eric and I were celebrating the end zone, and I saw my mom, my sisters in the stands, and they were all crying, and that's something where it's been great memories for Eric and I, and my family as well. And I mean, just brought tears in my mom's eyes, going through that, and I mean, that was definitely a special experience for me.
I would give my thanks to the Big Green, the opportunity that they afford these kids, built a foundation for their future life, their future families, and I really do think that's one of those things where you're doing right and you're doing good. And I know from talking to these guys that there are kids, certainly, that this is their opportunity. And absent the help of those folks, they would not have an opportunity.
The impact they've had on my life has really been, it's been enormous. I really could not thank them enough, and I know that just all the things that they've done, it really has been so important to my family and I.
I really appreciate your guys' generosity and selflessness and realizing the impact that you can have on someone else's life. And so I'd just like to thank you so much for everything you've done for us.